Dear students, in this lecture we are going to see the perceptron learning rule. So perceptron is a concept of machine learning, especially in the neural network, which mainly concentrated on single layer neural network. A perceptron means it's a single layer neural network architecture. This perceptron learning rule is also termed as error correction learning procedure, and the steps in this particular learning rule is: during training, an input is put into the network and flows to the network, generating a set of values on the output units. Then the actual output is compared with the desired target and a match is computed. If the output and target match, then no change is made to the network. However, if the output differs from the target, a change must be made to some of the connections. The perceptron learning rule is introduced by Rosenblatt, is a typical error correction learning algorithm of single layer feed forward networks with linear threshold activation function. So let me take the idea of perceptron learning rule. Perceptron learning rule is also termed as error correction learning rule, and this perceptron means it's a single layer feed forward neural network, and it is assigned with the activation function linear threshold activation function. So it's perceptron means it's a single layer neural network with linear threshold activation function, and this learning rule was introduced by the scientist Rosenblatt, and it is also termed as typical error correction learning algorithm. So what happens in this algorithm, or what will be the steps inside the corresponding algorithm, is during the training stage of this particular perceptron, an input is put into the network and flows through the network, generating a set of values on the output unit. So during the training phase, an input is put into the network and moves through the network. It produces a set of values on the output units. Then actual output is compared with the desired target, and if a match is computed, no change will be arranged to the network. If the output and target is having a mismatch, a change is needed in the weights of the corresponding connections. And this type of algorithm is termed as perceptron learning rule. So this is the diagrammatic representation of a simple perceptron. I already told you that perceptron means it's a single layer feed forward neural network. So this x1, x2 are the input layer. These are the nodes. x1, x2 is the input layer and this is the output layer. So it's a single layer network. So we are not having any hidden layers between the input layer and output layer. So input layer we are having two nodes x1 and x2, and this is the output node. From the output node, the output pi is moving outward. So x1 and x2 are our input nodes. W1 and W2 are the weights allocated for nodes inputs x1 and x2. And this line is termed as the bias to this particular network. Bias means it's an external weight applied to all the layers of a neural network except the input layer. So here this is the input layer and this is the output layer. Only two layers are there. Bias is the weight which should be applied to all the layers except the input layer. So his bias value 1 is added to the output layer of the single layer feed forward neural network, and it is denoted by the term theta. So this is the diagrammatic representation. It is somewhat more inputs are there, x1, x2, etc. xn input values are there, and here we can see that all the input values are allocated with w1, w2, etc. wn weights. Then it will be moved to the summative function. For the summation we are having I already told you that bias is a particular weight which will be given to all the layers of a neural network except the input layer. So this is our input layer. So we are not giving bias to this nodes. Now bias is applied to the output layer of this particular neural network. This is our output node. This output node here, the output node is specified in some steps. So first of all, we have to find out the summation. The summation is like this: sigma I equals 0 to n wi xi. So here the bias value is considered as x will be equal to 0, and the weight applied to, or the weight value arrived by this thing is w0. Okay, so w0 is the weight and x0 is the corresponding value. So one of this thing should be 1. So it will be it will not make any change to the corresponding network. So 1 is also summated with the resultant of sigma x1 w1 plus x2 w2 plus xn w1. So here if you making it in x0 w0 terms, so it will be x0. This bias will be equal to x0 w0, and x0 is also 1, always 1. So we have to compute in this, we have to find out the summation of sigma I is equal to 0 to n wi xi. Then this sum should be forwarded to an activation function. This is a symbol which notates the activation function, and here in this particular perceptron, the activation function is linear threshold activation function. So the equation is like this. This function should be, function should be equal to 1 if the summated value is greater than 0, minus 1 otherwise. So this is the output produced by this particular function, and based on that the output will be move forward from this particular perceptron. The simplest output function of this above picture is y is equal to sine of sigma I equals 1 to n wi xi plus theta. So theta is our bias and wi xi are the inputs and their corresponding weights. And here I equals 1 to 2 means we are having only 2 input data. Then the SGN is the corresponding threshold function. It will be equal to 1 if s greater than 0, equal to minus 1 otherwise. If the summated value is greater than 0, it will be producing the signature or the function, activation function as 1. Otherwise, the activation function will be equal to minus 1. So this type of simple perceptron is used to classify patterns which is said to be linearly separable. Now we will see what is linearly separable. Linearly separable things are linearly separable. The concept of linearly separable means we can classify the data points linearly with the help of a straight line. If you are looking at the first diagram, you can see that in this particular diagram some plus points as well as minus points are there. And if you plot a line like this on this particular figure, we can say that one side of the line is having plus point, the other side below the line we are having minus point. So this line will act as a separator which separates the plus points from the minus points. So this type of diagram is termed as linearly separable data, or this type of data is termed as linearly separable data. But if you are looking at the second diagram, you can see that this plus and minus are scattered around. So we cannot make a perfect line, we cannot make a single line to classify or to separate the plus and minus points. If you plot a line here, 2 plus points are here and 2 plus points are here. So if you are plotting one line here and one line here, then it will be correctly separable. Otherwise, we are not able to classify these points with the help of a single straight line. So this type of diagram is termed as not linearly separable. So linearly separable data means these are in linearly separable data we can classify the data points with the help of a straight line separator. Now we move on to the perceptron learning algorithm. We want to train the perceptron to classify inputs correctly, accomplished by adjusting the connecting weights and bias. So can only properly handle linearly separable sets. So perceptron is a single layer feed forward neural network which follows the linear threshold activation function. And if you are training that perceptron, we have to classify the input data should be classified correctly by this should be happen by adjusting the connection weights and bias value. So we can adjust that bias weight as well as the weights applied to the input. Then we can correctly classify these data points with the help of a straight line. Then only if we are assigning this weights and bias properly, then only we can make the corresponding data linearly separable. Now we see the case of multi-layer perceptron. Multi-layer perceptron contains one or more hidden layers. So in between the input layer and output layer, some intermediate layers are there in the case of multi-layer perceptron. When a single layer perceptron can only learn linear functions, a multi-layer perceptron can also learn non-linear functions. So the idea is that single layer perceptron uh, we can only perform linear function, but in the case of multi-layer perceptron we can do some non-linear functions. Each neuron is one layer, has directed connections to the neurons to the subsequent layer. We know the idea of multi-layer neural network. We are having intermediary layers. All the nodes in one layer is connected to all other nodes in the next layer. In many applications, the units of these networks apply a sigmoid function as an activation function. MLP are very more useful, and one good reason is that they are able to learn non-linear representations. So multi-layer perceptron, we know the idea of multi-layer neural network. The same thing is there, multi-layer perceptron. In between the input layer and output layer, we are having multiple intermediate layers, and the idea is that each node in the first layer is connected to all other nodes in the second layer. So all the nodes in the second layer will be connected to all other nodes in the third layer. Likewise, the network is following. And in case of this multi-layer perceptron, we are normally following the sigmoid function as the activation function. And another important point related to this multi-layer perceptron is it can be used to learn. This multi-layer perceptron can be used to learn non-linear representations. That means in the case of non-linearly separable data, we can use this multi-layer perceptron architecture. So this is the diagram of multi-layer perceptron. This is our input layer. Then this is our output layer. In between the input layer and output layer, we are having one hidden layer. So our inputs are x1, x2, xn. Then which will be assigned with weights I1, I2, In. These are the weights allocated to the input value, and this thing should be moved to the hidden layer. So all the input values are connected to all the nodes in the hidden layer. Then another point is that we are having one external bias that should be applied to the hidden layer, all the nodes in the hidden layer. Then bias is applied to all the nodes in the output layer. Then after processing in H1, after doing the processing H1, H2, etc. Xn nodes, the output will be moved to all the nodes in the output layer O1, O2, etc. On. From the output layer from the nodes in the output layer, outputs Y1, Y2, etc. Yn will be generated. In this particular perceptron, this can be termed as a multi-layer perceptron because one hidden layer is there. At the same time, we are having multiple input as well as multiple outputs will be generated from this multi-layer perceptron. Now we are having one more thing to learn, that is cost function. We know the closer the predicted values to their corresponding real values, the better the model. Now we are using the cost function to measure how close the predicted values are to their corresponding real values. The duty of the cost function is to measure the closeness between the actual values and the predicted values. So a cost function in neural network is a single value function, and it is not a vector because it rates how good the neural network did as a whole. So the cost function is expressed in the form C. C stands for cost, W, B, S, E, where W is our neural network weight, B is our neural network bias, S is the input of a single training sample, and E is the desired output of that particular training sample. So not this function can also be potentially dependent on Yji and Zji for any neuron J in layer I, because those values are independent of W, B and S. So the cost function of neural network can be expressed like this. C of WBSD, where W is the weight of the neural network, B is the bias applied to the neural network, S is the input data, then E is the desired output. This is the simplest form of expressing the cost function of a neural network. The cost function is given as a sum of squares of difference between all the target and actual node activation for the output layer. So the cost can be calculated like this: cost of xn. The cost of a node xn can be calculated as sigma I equals 1 to n ai minus ti the whole square. Actual value, ai means the actual value and ti means the targeted value. So it is cost function can be the data for cost function can be calculated as it is the difference between actual value and target value. The square of we have to summate the square of difference between actual value and target value. That whole sum will gives the cost of the corresponding neural network. So another term related to this neural network is gradient descent. It's an optimization algorithm and its responsibility is to find the minimum cost by trying the model with different weights. So in gradient descent, it's an optimization algorithm. The purpose is that we have to find out the minimum cost by the neural network by assigning the different weights to the nodes. We first run our model with some initial weights. Gradient descent updates our weights and find the minimum cost in thousands of iterations. So this is all about the perceptron learning rule. Hope you understood. Thank you.